Alright, so far we had discussed about the creation process of the secondary particle, second underscore ash, with respect to the instance node. And now we're going to talk about some changes inside the scaling property, as well as some few more stuff like the spinning and initial orientation, as well as the mass. Okay, because we don't want that all the particles to get pushed, or you can say influenced by the uniform field, or like in the same way. So that's why I've used the uniform field. It will going to work upon the mass attribute of the particles as well. So what I can do, I can select the second underscore ash and start creating some more stuff. Let's say first we're going to talk about the scaling. So for that, again, we're going to create the per particle attribute, and let's say chunks underscore scale. It will going to be the float data type, and the attribute type is the per particle. And we're going to go over there, and let's say under the creation expression, let's say second underscore ash shape dot chunks underscore scale would equals to the, okay, I just missed one thing, I guess. First we need to create an expression. Okay, alright, first let us say float $r scale equals to the random number. Let's say any random number like 0.1 comma 0.25. Alright, and then we're gonna call them up. Being vector scale has xyz attributes, so obviously we're gonna use the vector, and I'm gonna copy that stuff, Control C. This value, this variable $r scale, we're going to copy the value of rand 0.1 to 0.25, and we're gonna copy that stuff to 3 times. Okay, and edit that one. Alright, now if we're gonna go to the scale and change that thing to the chunks underscore scale, you're gonna notice that we have to roll the timeline. And one thing more I would like to address is that I don't want to see the point particles, so I have attached an opacity which you can go and grab from over here, okay, that I have already used, add per object attributes, and can put that thing to 0, let's say. So by doing this, we'll no more going to get the the point particles. So if we're gonna play the timeline, you're gonna notice that after 35th frame we would be seeing the emission of the second underscore ash particles, with obviously the change inside the scale. Yeah, that's completely perfect, not a problem, as now I can see very clearly that it just gonna add some more sense, because the primary particles have been reduced, and they are quite nice. Now it's just looking pretty much okay. The other thing what you can do is that you can increase the count of the particles. So instead of the rate of emission we had added just 10, you can add to 8, you can add to 12. Okay, but make sure that this particle will going to get too much inside the scheme. And what I remember is that the cache of the second underscore ash was approx 12 gigs of size. Okay, there were going to be approx I think so 1 million particles inside the scene. Okay, so that's not a problem. Okay, Maya can handle the particles at a better way as compared to the previous versions of the Maya. Now, alright, so moving forward, we need to give some more interesting things to the second underscore ash particles with respect to the mass. So I'm gonna create, the mass has already been created as a per particle attribute. We can go and let's say under the creation setup, we're gonna add another expression. Let's say the rand 1 comma 3.5. Alright, that's okay, and we can edit that stuff. That's okay. So second underscore ash shape dot mass equals rand 1 comma 3.5, edit and close. So with that, some of the particles will gonna find some maybe a little bit slow with respect to the speed and the time, because the mass has a different impact with respect to the uniform field as well. And the second thing would be to add a spin. Let's say chunks underscore spin, and create that per particle attribute. And I think so I just need to check one thing. Alright, so the properties was fine. Let's say chunks underscore spin. Alright, make sure that it's again float and it's per particle. Alright, so chunks underscore spin, we can go and create another expression. Let's say the second underscore as shape of chunk spin is equals to the rand started with again random number 360 comma rand, let's say 180. So it'll gonna pick up the two values ranging between 360 to 180 degree, and again it'll gonna do another rand operation. So that's it's quite a good I guess. Okay, so second underscore as shape dot chunks underscore spin is equals to this, and we're gonna put that thing under the rotation. So rotation options, you can use the chunks underscore spin. Alright, and now if we're gonna play the timeline again, you're gonna see some little subtlety inside the rotation of the particles. And you should note one thing, that the rotation is not per frame, it's just only for the first frame. We need to control the rotation of the particles. That we're going to add some really interesting effects when the lighting will going to affect the specularity on the textures. So for that we need to give this expression to the velocity, okay, which is not a complicated subject. So again we can do one thing. We are still inside the second underscore as shape. We can go to the chunks spin, and let us say runtime before dynamics, that this expression should equals to the, or let's say plus equals to the velocity. Alright, so with every frame it will going to get add up to the value, and that will be perfect. Second underscore as shape dot chunks underscore spin plus equals to the velocity, and we're gonna create. Okay, so that's okay. And if you want to have some more fast moving particles, you may could add the multiplier to 3, 4, 5, anything. So if you're gonna observe that thing, and we don't need to put any change because the rotation is taken care from the creation expression from the first frame, as well as the per frames attribute as well. So let's see that how the rotation of the particle is taking place. It might could be slow or could be difficult to see, but let us see. I hope so. We're gonna see. Yeah, obviously you can see the particle is now getting rotated fair enough, and I think so. Yeah, that is almost a good. Okay, so we don't need to change any other value. Alright, so I'm gonna put a pause. So that was just overall the expressions and all for the creation process of the disintegration effect. Now I guess we have completed the two important stages of our course. Now in the next lesson we would be started talking about the creation process of the fluids, which is very important effect. Alright, so that's the end of this lesson. We're going to see you in the next lesson.